Hello, Anthony. This is Sandbox, and
talking to you.
we are going to discuss games, just so you know. And there's probably going to be some film and TV in there towards the end. Okay, that's the way Sandbox works.
And middle as well.
Yeah, I mean, so new listeners and old listeners, if you're not aware, it's Sandbox. Anything can happen. It's kind of the wild west of podcasts. It's a bit crazy, a little bit kooky. People might get hurt.
You right now that by the end of this, Jamie will have sung a song on that guitar he's hiding in the background.
It's not hidden.
He's gonna pluck us a little tune on that
guitar. Call it foreshadowing.
Oh yeah. It's
but
Chekhov's guitar.
Only if you're watching, because if you're listening, at some point the guitar will be played and you won't even realise that it was being picked up.
There you go.
So
there you go.
We're going to talk about what we're drinking, and I'm going to start it off, despite the rumbling on the mic of Jack preparing his beverage. This right here is coffee, and this is instant coffee.
Okay.
I've got a coffee story, but I don't think this is the right place to talk about my coffee story. But this is instant coffee, and it is Morrison's standard gold coffee.
Delicious.
The mug is
also.
It says it looks like a really kind of generic corporate mug that you might pick up for free, which it is. But it's quite funny because it says safe tea first, which is really funny.
I get it. And it says Peeps with 2 S's.
Good. For the listeners, I take my coffee 2 spoons of instant. If you ever make me a coffee in the future, 2 spoons coffee, 1 spoon sugar. Sorry, I had a bit of coffee in my mouth there.
Then 3 spoons water.
And a little splash of milk just to finish it all off. Oh, and boiling water to make up the bulk of the drink.
What is gold coffee? I feel like I've only really lately seen every coffee come in gold.
Oh, gold. So when it comes to instant coffee, gold is like the standard coffee. And then if it doesn't say gold on there, it's probably like really bad. Like
the gold is the gold standard.
Gold is just kind of your good instant coffee. You'll see like more expensive ones. In my humble opinion, you're wasting your time with the more expensive instant coffees because this instant coffee hits the ceiling of how good instant coffee can be, which is not great.
And that's why you need a machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to show this off now. I don't know if you've had it before, but I don't think I have. It's Franziskaner Weissbier.
Oh, I love that.
Got a little pipe on it. So I brought like 4 ales, and 2 of them I think you've had, but I haven't, and 2 of them I don't think either of us have had. But this is the one I chose because I wanted it. So I guess it's going to be delicious.
Look at that pour.
And there I disappear.
For you, for audio listeners, if you're not understanding where this CO2 bubbling noise
is. You're wondering what this sound is?
Jack raises his glass towards his mouth, gingerly.
We need, what's it called in the cinema? It's like
audio description.
Audio description. I don't know why I couldn't think of the words audio description.
Do you know what we need on this channel? Because we've already reached all our other milestones. What we need is to hire someone to do audio description for us. That's what we actually need. Yeah,
we're not accessible enough for the blind or deaf. We should throw a lot more stuff in, some captions, some audio description.
I mean, I feel like we're pretty good for the blind or deaf. We do have audio and visual covered. I feel like if you're blind and deaf, then we're not really great on that front.
That's when we need Braille.
It's a possible investment.
Yeah.
So I mean, who knows if the Switch starts to support HD Rumble on YouTube, maybe. But
Rumbles and browns, your fingertips.
so I want to talk about games.
It's good. Let's carry on.
And so there's a few things. There's a monumental awesome thing, and also a monumental awesome thing. And we're going to start off with the monumental awesome thing, which yesterday, from when we're recording this, there was a new game announced from Nintendo. They don't care about directs anymore. They're being even more direct, and they're just kind of giving us these little like appetizer plate sized trailers. And they've been okay. This one's been really good. So this is Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Jack hasn't seen the trailer yet.
And I'll just watch it now.
So this is to me Jack's live impression of the trailer. I'm actually quite looking forward to it. No one told me Link's in it.
Oh my god, is that Link? So I assume I'm going to see Calamity Ganon.
Calamity Ganon does indeed feature in this trailer, yes.
Yeah.
So while Jack enjoys that trailer, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is made by Koei Tecmo, who are the Dynasty Warriors guys, and they're doing a Dynasty Warriors Zelda game. But this one is very different to their other Dynasty Warriors Zelda game, in that it is actually a chronological prequel to Breath of the that's the word I was looking for, to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And it's using the exact same art style. It's set in the same world, and it looks sick.
I mean, it looks like Breath of the Wild from the trailer.
And it's really cool because Dynasty Warriors is about fighting lots of baddies on a battlefield. And the way that Zelda Breath of all Zelda games are not suited to large-scale open-field combat.
No, they're a bit more puzzly and strategic and platformy.
Exactly.
Did you say it was a prequel?
It is a prequel. It takes place 100 years before.
It's got the Hyrule Warriors who you have flashbacks of in Breath of the Wild.
The champions.
The champions, that's what they're called. So you know what happens at the end, they're all going to die and lose.
That's what everyone's saying. It's actually going to be really sad because all the champions die. You're going to see them all die. You're probably even going to be playing as them and then die.
Like you play as them.
You definitely do. You definitely do play as them.
That looks really cool.
It's kind of really sick, actually. It came out of nowhere, and it's a great kind of like unexpected side dish to keep us happy before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out.
Yeah, to keep us going before then. Yeah, they're really milking Breath of the Wild, but in a good way, it seems.
Yeah.
They don't usually do that.
It's never happened before. They've never done it like this before. It's crazy.
No, not with Zelda anyway. I mean, the most they've done with Mario is like Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Yeah, but that's like it's so not really a sequel. Like it's just like they wanted to make. They had loads of more ideas for Galaxy. Yeah, but there's no story. It's really.
There's a story.
It's a story in Galaxy 1.
Were you not emotional when Princess Peach got kidnapped by Bowser?
There was actually a story in Galaxy 1, but Galaxy 2 does not really continue that story.
Yeah, I like the story where Rosalina is somehow a baby in Mario Kart.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Rosalina's story was about how she's immortal and eternal, but also absolutely was born at some point because when she was born, she almost immediately was put into a cart and made to race against Donkey Kong.
That aged her. Maybe it's like the Justin Timberlake film In Time, and she aged until like 25 and then stopped aging.
I think that's almost certainly the case, actually.
I reckon Shigeru Miyamoto looked at that film
Who?
and said, Rosalina.
Shigeo.
Shaggy Miyamoto.
I was thinking the same thing. So yeah,
That looks cool.
you like the trailer?
I like the trailer. I like the look of it. It looks hype. Looks fun.
Did you notice the interesting issue that about this trailer?
No.
It comes out.
Oh, what you said.
It comes out one day after Cyberpunk.
I thought it was 3 days. Is it only one?
I thought it was 3. Apparently it's 1. Apparently I got my dates wrong.
Day after Cyberpunk. That's, I don't know. I feel like there's probably enough of a lack of crossover there that they're probably not going to lose sales.
They're not going to lose sales because, I mean, I know that I'm definitely going to be buying that game for sure, but I'm not going to be playing it until probably quite a few days after.
Yeah, once you've got your, once you no longer need to play Cyberpunk 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is an interesting choice. Pretty brave.
Because although normally, you know how Doom and Animal Crossing came out on the same day?
Yeah.
In that particular case, it was very obvious that was not going to have any overlap. But I feel like
The opposites.
with Cyberpunk, it's kind of, it transcends genre. It's kind of the game, isn't it, really? It's the game that people want. And so,
I mean,
yeah,
Zelda's kind of like that. If you like Nintendo, you probably like Zelda, and especially interested in a Breath of the Wild world game.
I'd be surprised if someone was already excited about Cyberpunk. I'd be surprised if that person bought Hyrule Warriors instead of Cyberpunk.
No. I get that, but I'm trying to agree with you in a weird way. Like, I feel like people who would be interested in Hyrule Warriors are maybe people who are already interested in Cyberpunk.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's more likely going to happen is that people will actually just buy both, because I definitely will.
Yeah.
Also, the box art, just shout out to the box art, because it's it's important. Warriors. It's really, really good.
It's really old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just looks really nice.
It looks almost like a Warhammer 40k painting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see that, but yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty hype.
So
that's that news.
The other thing that happened big time
that you were very
was
excited about.
Graphics cards. And
oh yeah, of course.
Yes. Obviously, we're good. We'll talk about it in a different way, because
you've done your video.
You probably know about these cards by now. There's they're everywhere. But to quickly go over it, we've got 3 graphics cards coming out within the space of the next 2 months, and they are very good value and very powerful. Yeah, very exciting. Yeah, Jamie's getting one. To the left of Jamie is a package that arrived today, which is my new power supply, because I needed to get a bigger power supply.
Are we getting a live unboxing?
I mean, I was going to do that, but then I think power supply could be one of the most boring things to unbox.
I think it would be very on brand if we did an unboxing of a power supply.
It's not even. It's just like it's good. It's nothing special. It's just a box.
Like, look at this. It's just a AAA battery.
So that's what I'm doing at the weekend, because that's going to be a pain in the ass to install. But then once I've got that in, I am ready for next week. Yeah. which is when I'm going to be hopefully buying a 3080 if I can get it before people have nabbed them.
I bet it's actually going to be, you're going to have to be quick to get them, I reckon.
I think they're going to sell out very, very fast.
They're reasonably priced.
They are reasonably priced, and also I always find it interesting with the price of smartphones right now. I know it sounds a bit strange.
Yeah, but I'm interested to follow you on this.
A part of me thinks, although they are genuinely good value, it's the 3080 is still 650 quid. Like, that is not a small purchase, right?
Oh no.
But at the same time, there are phones that sell out that cost like £1,200. Like the Samsung Galaxy whatever will cost 1,000 and something pounds, and people will eat those up.
Yeah.
So if you compare it to that,
thousands of people will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you compare it to that, it's probably going to sell out pretty quick.
I reckon it will. I mean, it's all over Reddit and everything like that. Yeah. The right circles are very excited about it.
I've just remembered
a
piece of news which is going to nicely coincide with what we're talking about. I got a lot of juice, actually. There's quite a lot of juice here. So
it's a juicy, meaty bone.
So those cards, they're really powerful. All of them, even the lowest one, which is not a low, but the 3070 is still more powerful than a 2080 Ti, which itself is more powerful than an Xbox Series X. So we're talking quite a significant leap above the consoles that haven't come out yet. Okay, which is important because before they were announced, it was like the Microsoft has not only revealed a new console, they've also revealed the pricing for both that and their existing Series X.
I completely forgot about that. That's pretty big news.
I just remembered it too.
Like, we've been waiting for that for a while, and it was leaked again, right? Didn't every single piece of information about the Xbox get leaked?
It was leaked for ages. Also, it's actually like, I think, like super good value. It's actually
good price.
Way cheaper than I expected it to be.
I saw a lot of people predicting it was going to be that price, and I thought it was way too optimistic.
Yeah, I was expecting. Well, I mean, okay, so it's £450 for a Series X.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be £500. So
I thought it was 500 minimum. Yeah.
Not that far off, but I was like minimum. Yeah.
Yeah.
450 is bloody good.
Now Microsoft have shown their cards. What do you think PlayStation are going to do?
Well, they can. I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because the PS5 is a weaker machine by a significant amount, actually.
Yeah.
But they've also got really expensive looking controllers.
Yeah.
And those things are going to cost a lot.
Yeah. The PS5 controller looks really, really good.
I really want one.
And I mean, I think it looks good visually, but just in terms of functionality as well.
Yeah.
And even just the exclusives, I think, at least in their heads, they would be willing to raise the price purely based on what games you can get on the system.
I think that you're right. I think that they have the ability to be a little bit cheeky in that way.
So I don't know if they're going to undercut or if they're going to go a bit higher, either because they feel like they can, or to make it look like it's better than the Xbox. It's worth more.
I think that the Series X, for being £450, I wouldn't be surprised if they were selling that at a loss.
Yeah, they sold. PlayStation 3 was sold at a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because of games, they can afford to do that.
I honestly think. I mean, remember, so the PlayStation 3 sold at a loss. That cost like £600 when it came out.
Yeah, that was expensive at the time.
So if that was at a loss, I don't know. I feel like this is gonna. I feel like it's more who wants to eat into their money more.
With Game Pass and everything as well.
Yeah,
quite impressive. It's all very bold strategy. It seems like they're really, really trying to, I don't know, just be a good brand and a very generous brand, which obviously isn't very common in gaming. So it's. I
actually think that they're. I change my mind all the time on Xbox.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel that they're doing a lot of good things. They're doing a lot of things right, and they're definitely coming across as the good guy compared to Sony.
Oh, for sure. It's like I've got a much more positive opinion of them now than I ever have before, and I've always owned PlayStations. I mean, I had a 360, but alongside my PS3.
But I can see Sony not even going to try and combat them on the nice guy image, and just purely go with, all right, nice. We're not going to talk about that. Yeah, we're the cool ones.
Yeah.
Here are the games. You liked PS4. Everyone bought one. This is PlayStation 5. We know you're going to buy one.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be wrong. I'm going to. Like, I'm absolutely going to buy a PlayStation 5 and not buy an Xbox Series X, at least at launch.
I mean,
unless something happens, but you know.
If you bought a Series X, I mean, why would you? There's no reason to.
Yeah, I mean, I that's the thing with Xbox for me, is I always just think, why wouldn't I just buy a PC?
Yeah.
It's Microsoft.
Like, I feel like if you, pardon me, if you were thinking, oh, I might get a Series X, you should get a 3070 graphics card instead.
Yeah.
And it would cost the same amount of money, and you've now got a beast.
Yeah. I know, yeah, it would. Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough one. But they're doing good branding, good marketing. I hope that Sony come out and say the PlayStation 5 is going to be £400, and then Xbox are like, well, the Series X is actually going to be £350, and then that just keeps happening until both consoles are free.
They pay you. I think, yeah. You know what? But okay, here's something that I find strange. The Xbox Series S.
Yeah, it's a little speaker.
Now, you know what it looks like? It looks like their disability controller.
It does look like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the big pad thing, and you move it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking speaker, but I think you're more right. I
don't understand where they're going with this.
I don't.
So this is
an Xbox Lite.
Well, okay. It would make sense, and I totally understand it. If it wasn't for the fact that they said that they're going to support Xbox One systems. The Xbox Series S is kind of equivalent / well, I think that apparently it's roughly equivalent to an Xbox One X. Now, so if you're releasing a machine, a brand new console called a Series S, that has apparently got very similar features to a console which already exists, that is also definitely going to be supported because they said it is. I don't really understand what the point of that is.
It's small.
I guess.
That's all I can get. Yeah, I do know what you mean. It's weird. It feels like the Wii U in terms of how well they've explained what it's for.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't explained it, but
yeah,
it's so cheap.
It's really cheap, which makes me even more confused.
Am I right in saying £250?
Oh, I think it's 350.
Oh, it's not 350.
Is it 250?
It's definitely 250 something.
Well, you said, am I right? So
No. I thought it was either 230 or 250. It's definitely not 300.
It's cheap as that.
Yeah, it's really cheap.
$300. That's £250.
How crazy is that?
It's really cheap. It just looks like a speaker. Maybe it's a handheld, and that isn't a speaker. That's the screen.
Hey, this is a good segue to something else that I want to talk about.
Go for it.
Speaking of handhelds,
there's
a very strong rumor that is kind of like, I don't know. Oh man, I need to. This is bad of me because I haven't got my source right now, and I read this earlier, and I remember thinking, hey, based on this and this seems like it's probably quite legit, and I can't remember my reasoning. So obviously, if you're listening to this, just take my word for it. I am right, and in the end,
didn't question anything.
This is what it was. Apparently, developers who are developing Switch games are being told to make sure that their games are ready for 4K resolution.
Ooh.
The signs are pointed to the Switch having DLSS support, which is the AI upscaling used in RTX graphics cards.
Yeah.
The Switch runs on a Nvidia Tegra GPU, and so this would mean that there's a new Tegra GPU coming out with the support for that technology, which would be an absolute game changer.
Yeah.
Because DLSS is the coolest, best technology to happen in gaming ever. Not joking. And not many people talk about it, and it's amazing. It would mean that you could actually play 4K games on your Switch, and it would be no loss of anything.
That is really crazy. I found the article. It's very interesting.
All I want is to play Xenoblade Chronicles at a resolution that isn't 144p.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? It's very fascinating. I can see that being a thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's true. That's my final answer.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
I heard it here first.
Not only has Jamie said it's true, but we've got a double Lockin. The two gods of gaming have confirmed this leak.
100% of openly beta. Agree.
So, I mean, there's not much more to talk about with that.
Yeah?
I have 13 syllables for you.
Go for it.
Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
You have 13 syllables. I was going to pick you up on that. I have never heard of this.
It's one of Nintendo's new elegantly named games that has been announced for the year 2021 on the Nintendo Switch.
When did they announce this?
They announced it this week as part of Mario's 35th birthday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That seems like either bad cookies or they're not being very loud about this.
They're being pretty loud because they also announced Super Mario 3D AllStars.
Yeah, to be fair, that was quite loud, wasn't it?
That was pretty loud, yeah.
The reception of that was also quite deafening.
Yeah. Oh, I hate controversies. I mean, I completely agree with all the. I think it's a rip-off, but
yeah,
man, controversies.
I mean, the main thing I've seen people complain about, which I think is completely justified, is the fact that the digital download is exclusive. Is that what I'm looking for?
No.
That's what I'm looking for.
Well, timed.
Timed.
I think you're thinking timed exclusive, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It has a sell by date.
It's available for how long?
It's available until it's until next year. It's like March next year.
Yeah, that's not very long. That's like 6 months. Yeah, which seems weird. I mean, it's just kind of, Nintendo's classic making things seem more exclusive than they are.
So, I'm just going to... This is completely legal. If you own any of these 3 games...
Yeah.
I implore you, if you own any of these 3 games and own a computer that was made within the last 10 years, please emulate these games instead of buying this. Because it's ridiculous.
That sounds illegal.
That is not illegal. If you own the games, it's not illegal.
Fair.
It counts as having a digital backup, which is allowed.
We had it here first, folks. Cheating the system with Jack and Jamie.
Downloading a ROM, a game online, is illegal. But if you put the disc of your Wii game into a computer and rip it, it's completely fair. But
there we go then. That's all we're asking for.
That's all we're asking.
That's all we want. Yeah, and I think there was also leaks where people thought that the old games would be remade.
Yeah, because Super Mario
Spyro and Crash, which would be really good.
Or a la Super Mario AllStars, the original, which was a remake.
Yeah, or a la Akbar. Yeah.
Did you have anything to say about Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury?
It looks pretty good. I mean, I didn't play a whole lot of the last Super Mario 3D World, so to me it looks pretty similar.
I mean, it's the same game. It's a re-release.
What's the plus Bowser's Fury? I assume that was adding something.
Nobody knows.
Okay, so it is the exact same game.
It's the same game with additional content added on.
Okay.
Presumably, because they added
if it was a sequel or if it was.
No, it's not a sequel. It's the same game.
It's hard to tell because of all the like Super Mario Brothers, New Super Mario Brothers, New Super Mario Brothers U.
That's a bit concerning.
Super Mario Brothers, Wii U, Luigi's Mansion, Gold Rush, featuring Spike.
Plus Bowser's Minions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else can I say about it then?
I thought you really enjoyed the last one.
No, I did, but this is just it again. That's like if you showed me a trailer for The Last of Us, like, what do you think?
No, I know. I just find the title to be so obnoxious. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Why?
It's actually a plus as well.
So, any developers listening to this podcast, and I know you do. Please don't put a plus in your game. Just don't do that. It's really annoying.
It's like Batman v Superman. They didn't go for versus, they went for V.
Batman.
Turn my light on.
Oh yeah, do it.
Oh, I didn't actually have to.
Or the well-known Batman divided by Superman.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran's new album.
Like, you can't do that.
It's like Caravan Palace. That's probably an obscure reference. There's a house swing band that me and Jamie enjoy called Caravan Palace, and their latest album is just a series of characters forming an obscure emoticon, and it's just impossible to search for.
That is not their latest album.
Oh, that's their second to last album.
Yeah.
Damn it, you're right. And I'm supposed to be the bigger fan.
Not anymore, kid.
Nothing personal.
Hey, scram.
So yeah, that was Mario news.
That's it. That's our news.
That's all news.
Yeah, that's our news section.
You forgot about movie news, Jamie.
Well, in fairness, that is your speciality. Like you're the movie stuff.
Right, so my first bit of movie news, the Batman film that me and Jamie are both very excited for.
Oh yeah.
4 days into proceeding with filming after stopped filming because of coronavirus, they started filming up again, and then 4 days later, Robert Pattinson got coronavirus. So they're not filming any scenes with him.
Moderately less than ideal when he is Batman.
Yeah, it's a bit sad. Dune? Have you heard about Dune? As in the world famous sci-fi novel, considered like the granddaddy of modern sci-fi, I'm pretty sure. But Denis Villeneuve, amazing director, my favorite director of last decade. He did like Prisoners, Arrival, a lot of great films. Sicario. He's making Dune into a movie with Timothée Chalamet and Oscar Isaac and Zendaya, and we have a trailer today, and it looks really good as expected.
Okay.
So it's very exciting.
Interesting.
That's something to look at. Oh, and he did Blade Runner 2049. He had so many good films last decade. Yeah, this looks like a cool sci-fi film. I think this is going to be pretty big. I really like Timothée Chalamet.
What's this movie called?
Dune. Dune.
Oh, June.
Dune.
Oh, I'm liking the.
I'm trying to pronounce it without just saying June, the month.
Yeah, I typed in June and something different comes up.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, that's just a bit of movie. I was going to say something else, but it would interlink with my movie I've watched. Should we go for that?
Yeah, do it.
Go for a little bit of a segue. So, you're aware of Charlie Kaufman?
Yes.
I have to remember which ones he directed, which ones he wrote. But behind, Being John Malkovich, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Synecdoche, New York, Adaptation, Anomalisa. He wrote / directed all of those. I forget the order. He released a new film called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It was released on Netflix like 2 days ago, and I was really excited for it, and I watched it the minute it appeared on Netflix, and I thought it was really good. I think that's the general consensus.
Oh, okay. I was expecting a but.
No. I've seen some people say they thought it was quite boring, but I think overall people agree that it's a good film. It's based on a book. Very trippy. I think I've told you about Synecdoche, New York before.
You have, yeah. You have.
I think on podcast.
Yes.
It's not as good as that for me. It feels very similar. Those two films feel like the most similar of his films.
Oh, I really need to watch that
movie. It feels
movie.
more like he enjoys making that sort of film, and he's going more into that. But yeah, it's very trippy and weird. It's got a very fun story of some twists. It's his first like horror film. Like his other ones are very scary in a different way, where it just gives you existential dread. But this one feels more like it's actually going for horror. But don't go into it if you expecting a horror, because it's still very much more psychological.
Okay.
And just weird.
Oh, I'm gonna add this to the list.
And it gives you a general uncomfortable feeling. It's got Jesse Plemons and Toni Collette in, which is always good. It's got a few other people in it. I'm gonna have to Google the main girl's name. It was Jessie something, but she was really good in it. And her name is Jessie Buckley. Yeah, she was really, really good in it, considering I don't really know her. Well, I think she's been in a few things. She was in Chernobyl. Yeah, it's really good. It's really uncomfortable the whole way through. It just feels like, oh, something's wrong, something's going to happen, there's something weird happening. It gets very dreamlike, like Synecdoche, New York, where I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just there's loads of really weird things happening that clearly don't make any sense.
Yeah.
But the characters are kind of acting like it does make sense, or they're kind of ignoring it.
I love
you
that.
would in a dream. Like you act like it's real in a dream, and then you wake up afterwards like that was clearly not real. It gives you that really uncomfortable feeling. It's
I
really
like
good.
that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you should also watch Synecdoche, New York, because that's the same.
I keep forgetting to
Yeah.
watch that movie. I really want to watch it. It sounds so good.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I'd recommend that. What have you watched?
That's a film I want to watch. That's a film I want to watch with you. I kind of want to. I don't know.
Or Synecdoche, New York.
Bloody pandemic! I'd totally come over and just watch movies.
It would be good to watch together because, although I wouldn't want to like, I don't know, talk all through it, pointing everything out. It would be cool to.
I don't know. I do like. Yeah. If there's a cool thing that I haven't noticed.
Commentary.
Yeah.
It'd be good to just guide your attention a little bit so you can appreciate certain things a bit more while you're watching it for the first time.
I watched.
Yeah.
This is years ago. I watched all the Marvel movies, and I was watching it as someone who was a bit. I'm a fan of the movies, but he was more of a fan. He was more into it.
Yeah.
And it was actually really fun to have.
Yeah.
Well, one, someone being able to point out stuff, and two, me being able to just ask questions. I found that to be really fun. So.
No, that is good. I like that. Yeah, and always filled with Easter eggs. Yeah, this is definitely a film to watch a couple times.
Cool.
As is probably a lot of his films. Anomalisa is really good as well. Or Anomalisa, it's probably the way that would be pronounced. That one's stop motion animated.
I actually have watched a couple of movies in the last week.
Hit me.
So one of them, the one I watched last night, it's kind of a bit of an indie movie. May have heard of it. Iron Man.
Oh yeah.
No.
Stars that washed up drug addict.
Iron Man is that the first like 30 minutes of Iron Man is so good. I love that opening. Well, I mean the whole movie's really good, but I mean like that opening is so cool. Like, I love it.
So incredible, and it's so like just perfect for the character. Like it really. It makes you feel like Iron Man.
I would say
it really establishes the feeling of watching him.
Yeah, I'd say 90% of that movie is really awesome. The worst part is where they can't help but have the Iron Man classic antagonist boss battle at the end, which sucks so much. That's the worst part because he's
Iron Man fight Iron Man.
Yeah, and also he like. I haven't watched it for a long time. Having watched it now, he like really like holds back in such an annoyingly obvious way. Like we all know that these fights, the baddie could, they always hold back. But I just feel like there were so many times when he kind of just looks at Iron Man on the floor for a bit. It's like, this is your opportunity to freaking crush him, but he just stands there.
Also, the thing that makes me a bit sad is it's Jeff Bridges. And it's like, this is like one shot of being in the whole MCU.
Oh.
I think he's really good in that film.
Yeah.
Like, for what he needs to do, he's golden. But it's just like, I want a bit more from him. Yeah. Got everyone remembers War Machine in that movie. Terrence Howard. I forgot until I just Googled Iron Man to, I don't know, look at Iron Man.
It was quite fun actually watching him be War Machine because I kind of liked his character. And it was interesting picking up references that are littered throughout that movie, which I completely forgot about, and like really fun things like how War Machine looks at the unpainted Iron Man outfit and goes, maybe next time. And I didn't know anything about Marvel when I watched that movie first.
Yeah, I didn't know he was War Machine.
It was just watching that now, like, oh man.
Maybe next time. Nope. Sorry, Terry. I googled. I just looked up why did they replace him because I didn't actually know. They wanted to give him a pay cut in the sequel, and he refused, so they replaced him with Don Cheadle. He was the top paid actor in the original movie because they thought hiring Robert Downey Jr. was a risk, so they hired him with a much reduced pay cut. So Terrence Howard was the top paid actor.
How interesting.
Which is weird because like you've got Jeff Bridges and Gwyneth Paltrow, like they're big names. They're in it a lot.
Oh, it's really annoying. I really can't stand Gwyneth Paltrow, and that I cannot see past that when I see her character.
Yeah, I have to massively disconnect Gwyneth Paltrow from Gwyneth Paltrow whenever I'm watching her in a movie. Yeah, she keeps trying to sell Tony Stark a candle. Yeah, that's a great film.
Just shove it up your ass. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great. You know, you wouldn't have the whole universe without that film. It works well. Give
me. I've got one other film, but if you want to talk about something that you've been watching, do that first.
I've been watching more Vikings, which has been good. I know what I watched. The other night we were like, we want to watch something really trash and schlocky. And I got in my head, I want to watch the movie Sex Tape with Cameron Diaz and Jason Segel. So we watched that. And let me tell you, Jamie, that film is schlocky trash. I enjoyed myself.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Cameron Diaz and Jason, is it like Jason Segel or Jason Segel? I always just say Jason Segel.
Segel?
Jason Segel. They've got great chemistry. They had great chemistry in Bad Teacher, and they had great chemistry in Sex Tape. I love Jack Black's cameo at the end when he's like...
I cannot remember. I've seen that movie. Cannot remember any of that.
I don't know why I assumed you had. It's just they're like a married couple.
No, I have seen it.
Like waning. So they make a sex tape and then they accidentally upload it to the cloud. The worst thing about the movie is like there's like 5 times in it where they pause to advertise the iPad in the most obvious way.
So I'm looking at images of this and
careful googling sex tape.
Yeah, I know. I made that mistake already just now.
Yeah.
I actually remember this movie, and funnily enough, I totally remember the product placement in that movie. I actually remember thinking, this is already a bad movie. Why do I have to also watch adverts?
Very sponsored by Apple. There's a bit where they throw an iPad out a window because it's got their sex tape on it and they don't want their friends to see. And then he goes out to pick it back up afterwards and he pauses and he goes, wow, the construction on these things is amazing. And it's like, Jason, why'd you do that?
You just reminded me of something. Can I just throw this product placement in?
Transformers.
No, this is it's one of the worst reviewed games on Metacritic, and it's a new it's like a new EA Sports wrestling-ish game. I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember what it is, and it's like the most unbelievably in your face advert I've ever seen in any game. I cannot believe they actually thought they'd be able to get away with that.
The boxing game, UFC 4.
It blows my mind that they actually thought people would be okay. It's just a full-on advert flashes up.
So it's a month after UFC 4 was released.
Yes, and that.
So after a review period.
Mad, absolutely mad.
Reviewer, in case I haven't heard, but I'm sure they have. So it's obviously a boxing game or mixed martial arts. So you fight, blah blah blah. You get a knockout, you pin them down, whatever, and then you get an action replay. So a month after the game was released, they added ads to the action replay. So you're watching your replay, and then your entire screen it flashes up. Amazon, The Boys, Season 2, watch now. It's just...
I don't understand how they can even... What planet are they on? They added this. They actually consciously added adverts to it. They can't even say... that because their statement was... We've clearly... because they removed it. They got rid of it. They said clearly the fans are upset and we underestimated the effect. Blah, blah, blah. Like, no, how could they possibly? What? Of course, there's going to be backlash.
It almost makes me think: are they doing it for the publicity?
Honestly, there is no way. If you're unless it really is just completely corrupt on that in that company, which it could be, but there's no way that you have someone who's high up in that company. I'm presuming they must be relatively, smart, know what they're doing to be high up in EA, and they actually said, no, we can do this. Are they completely detached from reality?
Insane. I mean, there's already so many ads. There's ads on like the main menu and stuff as well.
It's just
so greedy. Imagine paying like £50 for a new game. Bear in mind as well, these are the EA Sports games where they come out every year.
I bet there's microtransactions as well.
And that everything, every possible breed. It's just terrible. It's like I'm pretty sure in NBA there was a thing the other day where someone found a texture from the previous year's game, and it looked as if they had just used the same, like, how do I describe it? The same like 3D model of the arena, and they just slightly changed some things and then put it in the new game, essentially, like from the year prior.
God,
it's not good stuff.
I know we're supposed to be talking about movies, but do you mind if I bring up one more thing about games?
No, that's fine. Throw it in.
I just remembered.
For a sporadic podcast.
This is a small thing.
Yeah.
CD Projekt Red just clarified a few things.
Yeah.
So I always assumed, and I think this is because I misunderstood it. I think they did actually make it fairly obvious, but I just didn't understand it. There will not be a Cyberpunk multiplayer mode.
Yeah,
it's its own thing. They are releasing a multiplayer. It's not even like well, yeah. I mean, it comes out in 2022, so
a couple years after.
And they've clarified. They've said there are microtransactions, but they're going to be okay. But that's only in the multiplayer thing.
Yeah,
and very excited. They also said there's going to be more expansions and DLC content in Cyberpunk than there was with The Witcher.
Yeah, it's very exciting stuff. Also,
here we go.
I don't think you are to blame, because I think it's so confusing that they're calling it Cyberpunk multiplayer.
Yeah, I know.
No, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand what it is either.
It's essentially the Fallout 76, so the Fallout 4.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
That's how I've seen it described. It's going to be just a completely separate multiplayer game.
Yeah, but I feel like I would want them to just I would rather they had a mode. And also, if they did have a multiplayer mode that came out like 2 years after the original game, I would totally be okay with microtransactions, because that's completely different.
I'm predicting it's going to function completely differently to.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Single player game. I think it's going to be more like the Elder Scrolls Online is to Skyrim. I'm just going to keep throwing out Bethesda comparisons.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to feel like a multiplayer mode. I think it's going to feel like a completely different beast, just set in the same world.
The fact that it's coming out in kind of 1.5 2 years time, I think it's a pretty good.
And we know nothing about that yet. We've seen nothing of it, whereas we saw a lot of Cyberpunk very early on.
But this means we have expansions to look forward to for Cyberpunk for like 2 years. We have like 2 years worth of Cyberpunk goodness.
You're not going to stop playing the game every week.
No, I'm not. So
what have you been playing, Jamie? Cyberpunk?
But the Witcher expansions didn't take that long to come out. Like they took like 6 months, I think, later. The first expansion came out. I'm hyped. Anyway.
No, it's hype. They'll probably delay the expansions constantly.
I'm gonna edit that out. Those words cannot be ushered on the internet.
I've jinxed it. Yeah, So that's the movies I've watched.
I watched
Sex Tape starring Cameron Diaz. What have you watched, Jamie? Us.
I did.
So I haven't watched Us. I really want to. Was it good?
It's yeah, bit of a strange one.
It looks very weird.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the movie. I think they did a few confusing confusing plot lines and decisions which held it back from being another Get Out.
Yeah.
There was definitely like a comedy edge.
Yeah.
Obviously it was intentional, but there was definitely a comedy edge, but it wasn't like overwhelming. And I feel like at some point halfway through the film, I think the second act of the movie was too much absurd comedy for me, because up until that point I was really quite tense and scared, and they did a really good job at making you want to be scared about the antagonist.
Yeah.
And so when they started throwing in, I don't mind like dark comedy. I like dark comedy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it ruined the tension. It got rid of the tension completely.
That's quite annoying. I mean, yeah, Get Out balanced it very well. I mean, obviously Jordan Peele is a comedian.
Yes.
So I was watching Get Out. I was very impressed by the tension and the horror and the social commentary. So
there's certain elements of Get Out which is kind of so absurd that it probably does fringe on being like a form of absurd comedy.
There is a lot of dark comedy in Get Out.
Yeah.
But it never affects the tension. I mean, that's a common complaint people have of like Disney films, is that they force comedy into every scene to the point where it ruins the tension. Even like Marvel films, which I think is a very valid criticism.
Yeah.
That's a bit sad.
I think you should still watch the movie. I definitely would recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really cool, and I love Get Out. I think he's got a new one in the works, Jordan Peele, already.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That's your field. You just tell me.
Is it this? It's not that. We'll find that another time. We'll keep everyone updated on what Jordan Peele's doing.
Today's cliffhanger is brought to you by Jack. Find out in the next episode of...
It's brought to you by Jordan Peele.
By Jordan Peele.
Here now. So, Jamie, what games have you been playing?
This is when I have a little bit of a think. I've been playing... I think I might have talked about this already in the last one, though. Did I talk? I think I talked about A Plague Tale.
No, you didn't.
We're playing A Plague Tale.
Is it good? I've seen a lot of that, but I've never played it.
It is good. It's not normally my sort of game. But it's on Game Pass. So I checked it out because I did want to.
You're loving that Game Pass.
Oh, I am really loving it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I mean, I shouldn't really say this because the game needs to be good by its own merit, but it is actually amazing that it was made by such a small team of people.
Yeah.
Because it looks and feels like a AAA game.
Yeah, I mean screenshots for sure. I mean, I think you've got to allow for some sort of context on how it was made.
But the only thing that gives it away is their face animations. But other than that, it's amazing. Yeah. The story is actually way more interesting than I expected. I was fully expecting it to just be a kind of forgettable story, but like a fun little
little romp.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. But actually, very terrifying themes. Actually, so the game is. There's layers to it as it adds to the lore and the story. But you start off in a nice forest, really nice and pretty, and you're like hunting with your father, and it's all like really nice and merry. and then things get really bad real quick, and basically these hordes of rats appear and they eat people, and it's actually really quite gruesome, and I've never seen cooler like rat physics. The rats are kind of like a fluid. They probably have actually programmed the rats to behave like fluid, but there's basically literally thousands of them on the screen at any given time, and the only way that you can get them to go away is either by distracting them with meat or having a source of light, and the game's called A Plague Tale: Innocence, and you begin to realise that the game is very much about losing innocence. You play as like a young.
No one's gaining it.
No, you play as someone who's probably sort of like 15, 16, I guess, and with her little brother who's like 10.
Yeah.
And you know, at one point, you know, you're forced to actually use an actual human being as bait to the rats in order to get past the rats, and you justify it because you know you're French and they're English, and they're the invaders, and so you're kind of like, well, they were going to kill us anyway, which is true. And I feel like at the end of the game, I feel like she's going to kill someone who's innocent.
Her brother.
Well, the whole game is about saving your brother, so I'd be surprised.
Maybe she'll kill herself. I mean, the rats look pretty terrifying in the screenshots.
I
might check that one out. You know, it looks really good.
The more I talk about it, the more I realise it's actually pretty sick. I think you should definitely play it. It's really fun.
Yeah, I've considered it a lot before, to be fair, especially over the summer sale. So, a review of A Plague Tale: bad facial animations, great rat animations.
That's literally what I said.
The rats' faces are really convincing.
Yeah, like I said, the game's amazingly beautiful. Oh, yeah. Oh no, I don't want to spoil it. Actually, there's just moments which because you're with a little kid, and your character you play yourself is very young, and you're kind of, you know, you're like the big sister, so you're kind of putting on a brave face for him and stuff, and then something like just at several points, things that are like really quite awful happen. And because you're playing as kids, this game's like an 18, like, you know, but you're playing as kids, which I can't think of many. You know, Last of Us is probably the main example. There's something about having a kid with you, which makes the gruesome things just feel horrible.
Yeah. No, I mean, you've convinced me. I'm already going to check that one out.
What about you?
Well, speaking of The Last of Us, I completed The Last of Us 2.
That's a really exciting thing.
And I absolutely loved it. I literally just loved the entire game from beginning to end. It just stayed great for me. The combat was just amazing. I keep seeing really cool footage on Reddit of people just having these really cool combat encounters, and it's really cool. I also feel like I've seen the narrative shifting ever so slightly to more people saying, oh no, we love the game. I feel like now, because that's the rare thing to say, more people are saying it. But I don't know. It's the most completed game on PS4, which is probably because people wanted to review it. People wanted to give their opinion on it. And a lot of people were saying, we haven't even completed the game. And people wanted to know what the ending was. So I think the hate probably escalated that, where more people are like, I need to finish the game so I can talk shit about it, or vice versa.
Is there a percentage by any chance?
It was, I think, 56%.
No. You're kidding.
Yeah.
That sounds extremely high.
Yeah, I think the second highest was God of War at 52%, which I think is quite a bit of a shorter game. Red Dead Redemption 2 is like 20%, because obviously that game's really long.
They're really high numbers though.
Yeah, I mean, for a 24-hour long game or however long it is,
You
for more than half of the people to finish it is crazy. Because think about how many people buy a game casually.
Yeah, there's so many games on Steam. I mean, Steam's probably a bad example because people buy all sorts of stuff on Steam. But like,
Yeah, I mean, PlayStation, you generally, I don't know, play less games, I guess.
still, that's a huge number. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's high. But you know, whatever the reason for that is, there's probably a million things. I really loved it though. There were some really, really amazing moments, really tense moments where I was like, had to take a breather afterwards. It was really good. And I really liked the story. I thought it had a lot of heart. I thought it was good. I thought it made sense. I liked all the characters. Yeah, I really liked the whole thing.
I'm well up for a debate. Well, you know, you just telling me about it as an episode.
I could do another whole long thing about it now that I finished it because I just disagree with the criticisms even more.
I
obviously think people are entitled to criticize it, and I think there are things obviously you can criticize about it. It's not perfect, but most of what I've seen, I just really do not agree with.
I kind of want to have a full-on spoiler conversation with you about it. I want to know all the ins and outs.
I'd be down for that.
Sounds good.
We should have a whole hour-long video just about that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Cool. But I really enjoyed it, all in all.
Oh, cool.
If you didn't, leave a comment. We'll have a little debate. All in good fun. That's why we play video games after all.
I'm so glad that it was good. Because there was a lot riding on that game for you.
Yeah. That's the thing as well. I didn't like go into it thinking I'm just gonna love it no matter what. I went into it thinking, these things.
That's just the worst. There's nothing worse than you're about to, whether it's a movie or a game, having this annoying buzz in your ears of people's overwhelmingly negative opinion, because you don't want that. If you're hyped for it, you don't want that. You just want to form your own opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I bet in the back of your head you were like kind of ready to criticize things in that game.
A little bit. I don't know. I think there also could have been an element where I was ready to defend it.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was great. I think story-wise, I think in most ways I prefer the first game, especially story-wise. But I think in terms of gameplay and combat, I prefer the second one, which is obviously...
Yeah, as I say, that when I first showed that game, it was all about the AI in combat. So
I mean, it was amazing in the first one. Like, I've seen few games that have as immersive combat as the first. So the second one was like another level, and it felt really fluid. And yeah, I mean, I said this in our other video, but there were times where I did things that were worse for me, either because it was more likely to get me caught or damaged, or it would use up more resources, but just because it felt cooler to do. Just because it's like, I want this to be like this scene. I really loved it. I don't think I've played much else other than that, to be honest. That's about it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm missing something, but I can't put my finger on it.
You've spent hundreds of hours on a game, now you can't remember which game it is.
No, it's because of Games Pass. It lets you just dip in and out of things. Did I mention that I like Game Pass?
You might have briefly mentioned it. It's just like your character development, because last episode you bought Game Pass.
Oh yeah.
In the next episode you're gonna like go against Game Pass.
So
Top of the Empire.
I'll tell you one thing I did do. I resubbed to Final Fantasy 14.
Oh yeah?
And then proceeded to not play it.
I've lost so much money.
It's because I really, really want to get back into that game.
Yeah.
I loved it, but it was such a lockdown game.
Yeah.
I just...
You need the time. You need the commitment.
unfortunately.
Fair dues. Well, that's that.
I think that just about sums up the podcast.
I think that wraps it up. My dinner's ready.
Ooh, yummy. Fresh meat for your pot.
Rummy. Fresh fake meat.
Oh.
It's going to be good stuff. Thank you for that, Jamie.
That was a good one.
Words for Anthony?
Because you've made it this far through the podcast, and you're kind of our unsung hero. We know that you're watching. We also know that you're not subbed. So how about use this time to reflect? Reflect on why you're not subscribed to the channel. I think in this world, people are struggling to get by, and it's, I would say, heinous.
Yeah.
To not like and subscribe. So. And
share.
Basically, I want to end this podcast by saying, shame on you.
Shame on you, big old Tony.
And anyone else for that matter.
Yeah. Anyone else called Tony.
Anyone else. Funnily enough, I had Tony on the latest episode of Hitbox.
Oh yeah.
Which
go and watch that.
You should definitely watch because it's out. Well, it'll be out in 40 minutes. But not when you listen to this though.
It would have already been out for 40 minutes by the time you listen to this.
Right. Bye.
Bye.